At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Okay. I guess I have to click OK.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do the buttons. We do the thing.
Hit
Hello,
the
everybody in live land. We are
There you go.
We're the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. A little bit early. Tiny bit. I'm Tony Cass.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso, fresh from his stint in the NASCAR land of Pocono this past weekend. The drawer of the vroom vrooms. The exhaust of exhaustion.
There you go.
Yeah. And the Epicurean delight of the whiteboard. Le Sparky.
Yeah, and Sparky there with the whiteboard, he says, I take left turns and go very fast. Of course not. He says hi. Sparky says hi there on the big whiteboard.
No broom broom?
Yeah, I like it how everyone thought that I was there with you guys because you tagged me. And by the way, I was the only one commented on in the pictures like, hey, Kevin, make sure you wear your sunblock. Like I'm not there. And you guys are literally the only ones in the picture.
The only ones in the picture.
I'm not.
So, Karen, just to give you a little heads up, me and Sparky had an extra ticket. So I was like, he invited me with the fam to go down to the Poconos this weekend in Pennsylvania and watch the good old NASCAR races. And,
nice.
My first time ever.
I would have gone.
Have you ever partaken?
No, I've never been there, but I definitely would love to.
Really, really cool experience. The way that Sparky and his family did it, like top notch. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it.
Tony, this is your first NASCAR race? Oh
my
God.
First NASCAR event. So yeah, it was interesting.
It's a fun time at Pocono. It used to be more fun in the infield, before everybody. Okay, so every time in the infield, there was a statistic. 1 to 5 people would blow their hands off with an M80. Okay, that's when it was kind of fun. And you knew it was happening every year because you would see the ambulance go by and you could, turn on your walkie-talkie and get the intro. Hi, turn 1 crazies, says Sparky right there.
Yeah.
No, that's who they are. Yeah, you got turn 1 crazies and the finish line nuts and the we'd go in the infield. Not we weren't trying to be high class. We'd go infield partying just because that was the way to do it. So oh my God, I had so many. I want to say brown out, not blackout drunkenness events go on throughout the infield there at Pocono Raceway. But Tony, I can't believe this is your first race there.
Yeah, I'm not very much a NASCAR aficionado, so I don't watch it on TV. I had a million questions for Spark and the family, and they were very very obliging as far as answering every particular question that I had. And I had a lot, going on. So it was a lot of, hey, what are they doing over there? Hey, why are they putting that up? What the heck is that?
Tony,
certain things.
Well, Tony, could you answer me this question?
I'm ready.
Who is in our square right there? We have a beautiful young lady right there. It says Karen Goeller, right? Is that? Am I saying
Karen
that right or not?
Goeller.
I always mess up the last name. Smythe.
She has raced her way into the hearts of the Podguyz Podcast, of course, with her hit book.
What
There
do
it
we got
is,
there?
Missy's voice,
Missy's voice. Very nice.
which you can now find on Amazon, by the way.
Yes.
Let me look it up just so that way I know you're not lying to me about finding it on Amazon. Missy's voice right here.
It's all
M-I-S.
over.
It's all over.
Now,
It
Karen,
is.
now tell us a little bit about yourself, of course.
About me or
Yeah.
my book? Well, right now I am
We like to
still-
learn behind the book. You know,
Ah,
we like to hear about the book as well, but we like to hear behind the book.
okay. So I am still coaching gymnastics. I've been coaching since 1978, basically.
Wow.
I
Okay.
am, yep. I'm also a CSCS, that's a certified strength and conditioning specialist. Think sports science, that's what we do. Besides that, I'm a writer. I have 20 published books, lots of articles, and a few film scripts. And this book is actually going to be a film pretty soon.
Now, have you written
So-
it for a film adaptation?
Actually, I wrote it's interesting because I was listening to the radio. Somebody on the radio said something that triggered a childhood memory. And I said to myself, well, that would be a cool short film. So then I wrote it as a short film. And then I realized, oh, I could publish a book so much faster than I can produce a film. So I did that, published the book. And then I showed the short film script to some producers and they said, this is too good of a story. It should be a feature-length film.
Wow.
So I did that. It is a feature-length film. And then I made the book into hardcover so that it would be accepted into children's libraries and schools.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Now here's the overview of the book. It reads like this via Google. It says, Missy is being bullied by a few girls at school. She is a singer and the bullies are jealous. The ongoing harassment stems from jealousy because Missy has captured the attention of audiences at local performances including the school talent show. See the lessons learned after Missy's performance. That's just a brief description of the book right here. We're gonna share the link right now. I'm gonna share the link in the live just in case
Awesome.
our viewers wanted to take a look at the book themselves. Right now on Amazon, I think it's going for $14.99. So it's either you buy Missy's book or one pack of cigarettes, the way that the prices are right now. Missy's book is probably the better option. You can buy both. No one's stopping you from buying both, okay? Just light up a cigarette if you want, then read the book. Missy, Karen, do you have Missy's voice in audiobook? Because some people, they don't like to read. Reading's, not their thing. You have dyslexia. And if you don't have it in audiobook, why would you want me to read the audiobook version of it?
I don't have it in audiobook on purpose because we're producing the film.
Gotcha. So the film Paramount is picking it up. Who's got the rights to it right now?
Me.
Nice.
Me.
Nice.
Pretty much every film that you see that's not like Disney or Paramount or one of the big ones is an indie film.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I still have the rights. I hired a professional production company to do the project, and I'm on the phone with them all the time, and we're moving forward. Things are moving pretty fast at this point. So we should be posting some things on social media and stuff like that about the progress of this project pretty soon.
Very cool. Did you get down the casting yet, or is just the book is the script so far?
Well, no, the script is done, a long time ago. It actually won awards. We're actually doing casting right now. We'll be doing casting through, professional casting websites and casting companies and stuff like that.
Nice. The casting is one of, if not the toughest things to get down. If you get one person wrong, it skews the whole production. And I've been a part of independent movies as far as acting goes, some assistant directing parts as well. And if you if one dynamic is a fail through, then it just messes everything up. And then the worst part about
we're not just pretty faces, we're multifunctional.
Multifunctional.
Now, I'm pretty confident in how we're going about casting because this production company is very experienced and successful. And the casting people that they use, besides, the director's decision and my decision and, us discussing it, the casting people are very professional as well. So I'm sure we'll be fine with that.
Yeah. And how long has this been going on so far? About
a while. I actually wrote the script, finished it in 2020 and copyrighted it back then and registered it with the Writers Guild back then. I thought I had financing a couple of times and it ended up falling through. A couple of people, no, they just flat out lied. Other people thought they could get financing and they just realized they couldn't, stuff like that. So it's finally happening pretty soon. So the financing is, ready for us to move to the next step, and
that's really exciting.
Started. Yeah.
So is that the next route in your career as far as just making sure that you're doing acting, or not acting, but writing, directing, TV, stuff like that?
I'm not planning on directing. Like I said, I have this production company and a really great director. Okay. I am just the writer and one of the producers. And I was
going to say, you have to get a credit in there.
Yeah,
I'll get credit for sure. But I may be taking one of the roles as well.
Just as as like a Stan Lee kind of, by the way, there's the writer and producer right there. Sort of like a Easter egg situation. Now, Missy's voice, would that be what's that?
A legit role, not like a...
Not a cameo.
No, not a cameo.
No,
legit role.
Yeah. Okay. So more like an Easter egg. Like, so, you're already in the movie, and then people would say, like, by the way, the person who plays her also is the person who wrote the book.
Right.
Sort of thing.
Right.
So Missy's voice, would that be PG-13? Is this rated R? Are we going that far with it?
No, it's a children's
family
movie,
friendly,
children and family. Yeah,
very cool,
it's really targeted to like preteens and teens, family, that type of audience. It teaches a lot of life lessons. I didn't plan it out that way, but after I reread the script, and after it won a bunch of awards, like I'd say about a year or two later, people started telling me about all the life lessons that that could be learned through watching this movie. So I thought that was a great extra, benefit, which I didn't really plan. It just happened that way.
Yeah, you do have 2 reviews on Amazon.
Okay.
They 4.5 stars out of 5 on the 2 reviews.
Okay.
So do you want to know who the 4.5-star person or the 4-star person is first?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so I love reading reviews on Amazon. Tony knows how much I love reading reviews. Right now, for some odd reason, Amazon wanted to who cares, Amazon? Who cares? Amazon's like, hey, by the way, we signed you out. That's cool, right? Like, why? Why did you do this? Well, like it's like they're fucking boomer dad. So I'll read let me see here. One written review right here. Somebody gave a 4-star review without writing anything. Cowards! Cowards, I say. If I'm giving, I don't give 1-star reviews because they get ignored. I give a 2-star, but I give a 1-star written if I don't like it. And then I give a 5-star either. I normally give a 4-star, but I give a 5-star writing sort of thing style. Because 5-star reviews are, for the most part, robots. But this person is called Amazon customer. Okay. I don't know if it's a robot. This doesn't feel like it should be a robot, though. It says, very timely topic. This was a great story and touches on a topic that everyone needs to recognize and understand. Well done. One person found that helpful. And I guess the book is teaching enough life lessons to the point where, one person equals 1,000 when you really do the heartfelt math on it, because somebody else can feel that way, but not write it at all. sort of thing.
True.
Have you ever heard that kind of marketing math before?
Yeah, that's true. That goes with a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to sit down and actually write a book, let alone have a ghostwriter. Did you write this yourself though, right?
Oh yeah, no, I won't let anyone else write or anything for me.
Illustrations by Andrew Rodney. Who's Andrew Rodney?
He's another actor that I know from the film industry, but he's also an artist. And he's very easy to work with. That's why I asked him to take on this project.
Nice. Now the illustrations, I'm going to put it up the screen for our viewing audience right here. Just as a little, it's it looks like it's a little girl singing to a crowd. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. That's the hardcover. The soft cover version is the original version.
Nice.
The paperback.
So is the book a play on your own life, or is it just something that you would aspire to want to make over certain years?
No, it did trigger a childhood memory. I was bullied, but I was not a singer, so there are some similarities, but it's not really my life. And the similarities are I was bullied in grammar school and then again in high school. There's one scene in the feature-length film that happens exactly the way it happened when I was in high school. And that's about it. I mean, some of the relationships are a little bit similar, but they're not really exactly similar. So it's, I think a lot of people can relate to this story, though, or to the characters. So it's not really it's not my life, but it was inspired by my experiences.
Well, Sparky's got something there on the big board too, because he's kind of an artist himself. Okay, nothing again, no offense against Andrew. We're sure he's an amazing artist in that. But Sparky has got his Sparky. Yeah, throw the glasses on. You're gonna want to see this. Sparky, flip that big board around. We'll see what's going on here. Missy's voice starring Nicolas Cage as Missy. I can do this part. I did everything else. So Nicolas Cage is going to be playing Missy, I guess, if that is the
He's going to play every part.
That's the idea. Yeah, Nicolas. Yeah, he's going to pull The Room. Remember The Room with yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rotten Tomato version of it. So I see that. I'm going to bring this up because it's a part of your biography that makes that kind of makes you stand out here, of course. Lymphedema, is that a thing?
That is a thing.
Yeah.
That is a medical thing. Wrote a book on that too.
Yeah.
But this one is my life.
So what is lymphedema?
So lymphedema is swelling, usually in a limb like a leg or an arm. Sometimes somebody is born with it. Other times it's a result of a cancer surgery, like in my case. It's when the lymph nodes are not working or they get damaged or they get removed. And the lymph nodes are actually filters in our body. They filter out protein. So if there are no filters near that limb, then the fluid builds up in the limb. So you basically have to wear compression and elevate the limb pretty much all the time. So I'm very good at maintaining it. It took me about a year after the surgery to get my leg to look almost normal, but I maintain it really well. I'm very disciplined. So when I'm home, if I don't have compression socks on, I actually elevate my leg about 20 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like normally, if I'm sitting at my desk, I'm not sitting up straight like this. I normally have my legs up on my desk and I, pull my laptop closer to me and stuff like that. Or if I'm watching TV, my legs are elevated and stuff like that. So when I'm home, I literally do have to, still take care of it. But when I'm out coaching at the gym and stuff, I still wear compression stockings. So
now, is it kind of like not to say very similar to gout?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. I don't have gout.
Okay.
Now, how many people does that affect in the world? That sounds very rare, and that might be,
It's not as rare as you think. It's weird because a lot of doctors do not know very much about lymphedema at all. More physical therapists seem to be familiar with it. Oncologists, which are doctors that treat cancer, they know all about lymphedema. But the regular medical doctors, the primary care physicians, they don't seem to know very much about it.
It goes to show you people never go to a doctor. Go to a physical therapist.
Go to a physical therapist. Go to an oncologist. You know, they know a lot of stuff.
There you
Even
go.
if go to Dr. House, or at least a guy who played
someone
him. Knock on his door.
Someone who specializes in sports medicine.
There you go. No, yeah. I mean, I had the surgery in 1991. Like almost nobody ever heard of it. But now, I guess with social media and the internet, more people know about more things. So it is more well known. I actually did a lecture on lymphedema and on this book in a library. And after the fact, a couple of people came up to me and they said they have the same thing. So it's more common than people realize, but it's not talked about as much as, say, heart disease or anything like that.
I still think it's very admirable for you to write a book about it. So that way, if somebody is afflicted by the disease, they can look it up and find your book, and maybe it brings them some help or at least camaraderie, some relatability where you can see the picture of yourself. You're still, you still look healthy, happy on the cover. And it might make them think that it's not the end, that they could get through something that you're also going through currently.
True.
So it's never a bad idea. People out there, they sometimes suffer in silence, and it's that's a tough way to live every day, because then you kind of just waiting for the end of your life to end that way. But through reading your book, or even going to finding other people with afflictions, like a group therapy idea, isn't a bad idea until it kind of is. I've been to AA meetings before, and my God, these people, some AA meetings, I'm sure that they do it every step of the way or whatever. But some of the meetings are like, all right, guys, let's go to the bar now. It's like, what are you guys fucking stupid? Yeah, exactly. We're it's not that it's all group therapy is not universally the same. So you got to try it out. And especially if you're really highly suggested to buy the book, right? Just buy the book, right, Karen?
Exactly. Buy the book. See, this is it.
And you wrote 20 books, you said?
I did, but I don't have all 20 here with me.
Why not? You should buy your own.
We have a list of them.
Now, Karen, for young authors, I'm sure you do have a little bit of advice when it comes to marketing. And what would that advice be?
Advice for marketing or writing?
I would say both, but more for the marketing part, because if somebody can write well, enough to the point where they can stand reading their own writing back through 3 chapters, they're gonna do it anyways. They'll, even if someone can't write very well, they're gonna do it anyways, or whatever. But the marketing part is where it gets really conny. The con artists come out of the dens. They'll say, pyramid schemes will come out of nowhere, and they'll say, why don't you be your best customer? And you're like, what the fuck is that? That doesn't sound, of course I'm already my best customer. I'm writing the goddamn thing. So you'll have those people come out. And but besides those people, you've already been through 20 different versions, and not just versions, but you have enough experience built up where who the con artists are and who are not. So any advice for young authors when they're trying to sell their book? I
get emails almost every day from people telling me that they can market my book on social media, or there are websites that are set up just for these scammers to advertise books. And they once in a while, I did do one of them, and where they would post your book link on their Twitter account, like every day or something for a certain amount of time. But I only did it once because it didn't translate into sales. So I don't know who the other people that were following them on Twitter were. Probably other authors that paid them that same amount of money just to see their own, link being posted. And that's why I follow them. So, I mean, most people will only do something like that once, and if they see it's not working, then they won't continue. Social media is pretty good, but the best marketing is actually getting on podcasts like this. Years ago, I used to do a lot of radio interviews. Before that, I've done TV interviews. So that's the best marketing: TV, radio, podcasts, in person, stuff like that. Book signings are pretty good, but it's usually only a handful of people. They're not lined up around the corner for books that don't affect huge markets.
No, you're right. That's
Amounts
absolutely, yeah.
That's why we're very much a purveyor of, not to say like indie class writers, directors, entertainers of all genres, to be honest. And we've done thousands, literally thousands of interviews with entertainers all across the spectrum. But I mean, what would you call your pinnacle to date, as far as what is the major thing that you've done in your life?
That's a tough question.
I know, big question.
It's okay if you say this show, because that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Tony, I was actually gonna ask her, what was your worst marketing experience ever that you did and you have, oh my God, so much regret? If you had a time machine to go back and shake yourself and not
once
do it.
again this show, Kevin.
I actually do have a worst. It was a little bit over a year ago. Some woman who claimed to help people get projects off the ground and out there in the world, like inventions and stuff like that, claimed that she would introduce me to investors. So I took a table at her event, and it was like supposed to be a lunch event. And there were 20 vendors there, including myself, I think about 20. And it was a really expensive lunch, expensive for people to get in there. But the funny thing is, or the sad thing is, none of the vendors sold anything. The people that attended her event didn't even look at the vendors. Yeah, this woman went around. It was expensive because I bought a lot of books to have on, with me at the table. I paid a lot of money for that table. And the reason I did that was because she promised she would introduce me to investors, but she didn't say more than 2 words to me or any other vendor the whole, time that we were all there. So
she was probably
for their lunch and their hotel banquet hall.
She's probably using the vendors as props for her speeches, I would assume.
Possibly, yeah.
And the very nice, and then the vendors are secretly paying for the back end costs for the whole event, and those it's not directly a scam. Okay,
no,
it's a kind of like a hotel pyramid scheme.
It is. Well, it's those are like seminar events and stuff. You get a very good salesperson who pitches the idea. Everything feels like it's on the up and up, because it is, but they're not really there to feature you. They're using you to feature themselves.
Exactly.
And it's a tough scenario when you know that, hey, they'll say stuff like, you get what you pay for, so that's why it's so expensive. It's like, yeah, I could also pay for dog shit and a lot of money for it, and that's what I'm getting too. It's just the price tag doesn't always fit the quality sort of thing. We don't charge anybody to come on the show, and we don't pay anybody to come on the Podguyz Podcast, but we still promote it in the biggest way, because this is our week sort of thing, and this is what we do. This is what we love to do. And as soon as I looked up your bio,
for yourself, Kevin. We hate that.
You hate things now, Tony. Tony's just daydreaming of NASCAR and thinking of himself right now. He went to that NASCAR race. Yeah, here it comes again.
Crash turn 1.
It gets really crazy. I've been doing stand-up comedy, acting, and entertaining for about 20 years total. And you see a lot of scammers roll by, and you kind of know who they are after a while. You can kind of pick up the mannerisms, but the old saying is say yes to everything until you should say no, because there's always a point to say no to, or you'll fall for anything. Sparky's got something on the big board, though. More importantly, breaking news. Sparky, is something with Iran or no? Nope.
Should I put my glasses on again?
Who needs books? I got pyramids. Look at that. See, there's a one guy there. He's just got he's got a pyramid scheme. And then, well, I'm guessing, is that Karen there with the books or no? Sparky doesn't say much. Sure. There you go. Sparky doesn't really say much. What's that?
I was asking, does Sparky not talk?
He doesn't really. He's our industrial drawer of the show. Yeah. He does talk from time to time, but not often.
He's actually seen crimes before, and the police are like, "What happened here?" And he's got his whiteboard with him, fucking showing them. And they're like, "Why don't you speak up, son?" And we've had to bail Sparky out of some situations. It's
Sparky's a little bit on the spectrum. He's a tiny bit.
I wouldn't go that far. There are so many videos out there where they're trying to both promote autism, and then it feels like some people are taking it to a romantic level. I don't know. I see them on TikTok every now and then, and I'm just like, there was this one. It was this couple, and the guy's over there talking about how it is dating a woman who is neurodivergent, right? So he's got a cell phone out doing his thing, and she's at a baseball game with him, and she says, "Oh, things are just really loud right now. Can we just go? Can we just go?" Now she kind of looks normal. Like there's
I've seen that video.
You've seen that video, right?
Yeah.
So he's over there going, he's like, but Otani's coming up to hit, and she's like, "I know, but maybe he hits a home run, things are just going to get really loud and all sorts of stuff." And this, to the outside, to the naked eye, she's just looking like a pain in the ass, but he's calling it neurodivergent. So
I've heard that recently.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, hold on now. Have I only been dating women that are neurodivergent? Have I just been dating a bunch of autistic women? By the just this would explain the crying fits and the irrational thoughts. And whenever I'm like, it's probably me, not you. And she's like, "Of course it is." And I'm like secretly knowing, like, no, it's not. No, it's all you.
All them.
You're supposed to say, "Oh no," but you know what? That was probably her autism. Just not taking responsibility for herself and all that nice crap.
I'm waiting for your wife to come in and beat you with a fish.
Nah, she's gonna take out she got the bread roller now. I got her a plastic one because the wooden one might hurt too much.
Taco.
Yeah, we've been making. We went down to my wife is from the Philippines originally. She is beautiful. She is smart. We go down. The whole house smells like squid right now because now the delicious taste of squid is all there. But my God, it has that very seafood
on 100-degree day.
We got, dude. I went to Walmart. We have an air conditioner here, and it's pumping. It's doing a great job for the the living room. But for the kitchen, no, not a chance. There's no shot in hell. It's tough. So it kind of smells like a Filipino fish market in here. We do have our little a beautiful daughter right now. She's about 2 months old. Karen, do you have any kids or no?
No, I don't have any kids. I've got a dog.
What kind of dog?
Greyhound.
Great. Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Oh my God. You don't race him though, right?
No, she was a racer though.
Nice.
Yeah, she's sleeping on the floor over here.
I always ask people that, like, even if you said pit bull, I'd be like, you don't fight him though, do you?
Never.
Yeah. She's actually my third one. All
Greyhounds were bred to race though. That's why they have the sleek design to them. There is such a history behind the dog. Not a terrible history like the Dalmatian. Have you ever heard about the history of the Dalmatian or no?
No.
I guess one of the duchesses or whatever of England, she wanted a dog, but to have polka dots, right? Okay. And you gotta breed a lot of dogs to do that idea quickly too, to the point. So for I don't want to get too rated R, but generations of dogs were wiped off the face of the earth to create the Dalmatian for this Duchess. And then when she got the final results of the Dalmatian, she says, "Oh, well, I don't know. It's not what I expected." The character Cruella de Vil was based on this Duchess. I forget her exact name, but it was off of England. Yeah, Sparky, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, and Disney kind of took that idea and twisted it where they're like, "Ha, what have we seen in cartoons before?" You know, when you're giving your first idea, Karen, and then you give it to rewriters, I'll call them, because they're not the real writers, but they are the rewriters of the situation. They're not really editors because they're just coming up with plain old brand new ideas out there. So they took that and they said, maybe she wants the Dalmatians for a coat. Like, what the fuck? You remember that? Do you remember the storyline for 101 Dalmatians?
No.
What was the last movie you saw?
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Good question.
I can't sit through them. The last movie I saw in a theater was the more recent Top Gun.
Okay, now that was watchable.
Yeah.
I don't know, good, but it was watchable. Tom Cruise makes a watchable remake of sequel to the movie Top Gun. I was watching that in a waiting room the one time, and I'm like, 15 minutes in, totally watchable. The plot point, The funniest thing that I've been watching, you remember the movie Cocktails with Tom Cruise?
No, I didn't see that.
Tom Cruise plays a bartender, right? But the way he gets into bartending into the big city is he gets denied by every interviewer possible. And he ends up walking into like this TGI Fridays place. And this guy who, Culligan, he says, "Hey, what do you know about bartending at TGI Fridays?" I just can't, the rewatch on it is just too hilarious, where they really dedicated an hour and a half to two drunk guys basically one ends up setting up a bar down in Jamaica, getting a divorce, and then cheating on his then girlfriend while then only realizing, oh no, he really does love her because he was told that she was pregnant. And he's like, oh my God, I have to do something now. It's like one of those old school movies where every redeeming factor of the main character at the time feels like he's learning something, but on the rewatch of today, you realize he's just a jerk. No redeeming quality. Tony, you look like you got something there in the gun.
No, well, I was just because you're not very much a videographer, you're not into movies and stuff like that. Are you more of a reader?
No, it's just that I can't sit. Well, let me back up. When I owned my gym, I worked 80 hours a week. There's no time to watch a movie.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So a lot of my adult life, I just haven't had time to watch movies. But also, if I'm watching TV, I'm not actually watching it. I'm on my laptop or doing something. I mean, I spent the past 25 years writing books too. So it's kind of like, I don't really have time to watch movies. And to go to a movie on a date is not a common thing anymore. Usually it's more like dinner or, drinks. I don't even drink, but drinks or something like that. Even the beach, stuff like that. It's just not a common thing to do anymore.
That's fair.
Karen, you are just a workaholic there. I love it. I love it. I think
thanks to my mom.
Yeah, I think the one interesting thing is that you say to yourself, why would I want to watch anybody else's movie when I can write my own?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yep. It's the way I feel about when somebody says, "Hey, Kev, do you want to go to a comedy show?" I'm like, I'm not being paid for this one. Hey, so I totally get where you're coming from. Sparky is coming from the world.
By the way, Kevin has tried many a podcast, but never this long.
What do you mean by that, Tony?
A short film that
you've been on other podcasts, but you've never gone this long, like on a podcast.
Oh no. We've done other podcasts, Tony. You and I.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We're a team. We're a unit.
Yeah. The other podcasts, they pop up they leave real quick. You don't find too many people as dedicated there as Tony. So I said to myself, if I'm going to do anything, it's going to be with somebody who is dead ass serious and knowing what they want to do and having a vision of what they want to do and then sharing that vision and trying to retool it in such a way where we can make it entertaining. And that's where me and Tony really, hit the ground running sort of thing. Sparky's got something on the big board, though, even more
Sparky
important.
has his own vision.
Is it something about Israel, Sparky? My God. My blind date on Friday. Are you Sparky? Do you like my coat? Okay. No, I'm Tony Kaz. And Tony's got... What's going on there? Sparky, explain yourself. Perfect. Because there's a lot of stuff going on there, Sparky. What is happening? He's got himself on mute. I know that.
Oh, he does. Yeah, you are on mute, buddy.
It's interesting you say that because a podcast I was supposed to be on last week was canceled at the last minute.
There you go.
Okay, so Sparky, what's that picture really about? What's going on?
My blind date with Cruella DeVille. Or Dalmatian.
Oh, okay, there you go. There you go. The woman who made a jacket out of dogs. Yeah. Because it is, and that was a kids movie. That was Disney making a kids movie. Your movie is more kid friendly, or your book made into a movie is more kid friendly than some fucking lady wanting to make dog coats and shit. It's just
that's Disney.
Disney remade Snow White, right? And there's this internet conspiracy theory that says whenever a Snow White is out there and bombs, we are going to get into a conflict in the Middle East. So it happened at the Oscars around 1993, where they had a woman play Snow White. By the way, that was the same Desert Storm time, 92 into 93.
Wow, how ironic is that? That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's going around though. Like they're connecting the dots, and I'm like, I normally just say like, these conspiracy theorists are out of their minds. But whenever they push a Snow White character out there, and that Snow White character bombs like hell, like this last Snow White did. And Tony, I watched the movie. My God, why did I do that to myself? It was just, it was so bad.
I'm sorry.
Who dropped the ball on this? Karen, you have written 20 books. You have read through your 20 books over and over and over. Yes. It is tough to get something where you're like, okay, I can't put I bet you wrote 50 books and you only put 20 out there as quality control, in my opinion. But I don't know. How many books have you written though, Karen, where you said where the ones weren't released?
The very first book I wrote was in 1997, and I was 100 pages into it. That was when AOL was just becoming popular.
Yeah.
And I had problems with my computer. The AOL tech person had me delete a bunch of things. The computer crashed and I lost the book. I never went back to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I still have the idea in my mind and some of the notes, but I never actually went back to that project. So I guess I wrote 21.
You said thanks to your mother, you're a workaholic. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, my mother worked my whole life and she always loved her work. So I guess she led by example.
What was her work?
Her father was a 9-to-5er. She was a retail manager. So she was always working, but she loved it. Yeah. So, and she worked all the way up until COVID, until the shutdown. And she was well into her 80s. And she would not have retired if it wasn't for everything being closed down.
I think you get into a certain part in retail. And now every one of us has worked in a retail environment, where you're one-on-one with the public. And you don't and not to say people don't understand, but people don't understand how big of an asshole people are until you get to a one-on-one conversation, or it's like somebody gets unrealistic goals or unrealistic heightened activity where they're just like, hey, you couldn't do this. Dude, I am just a cog in the machine.
Oh, yeah.
And the machine is messed up. It kind of is what it is.
Tony, you know, it's kind of weird. They have, remember that now I don't know if it's going to get picked up anywhere, but there was that morning show. It's called Good Morning America.
Oh,
I was on that show.
Yeah. Karen was on that show, but it's being dropped. They're saying, see you later. They're moving the show to somebody else. So Karen, when were you on Good Morning America?
In the 90s.
This is before now this is hilarious because Karen was on Good Morning America during the time of probably everyone that was on that show was in some kind of weird sex cult going on, except for yourself, obviously.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, no, not you, but the people interviewing you,
she's like, but if I had
the history of the Today Show and the history of Good Morning America mirror each other as far as sexual misconduct on the set sort of thing.
Wow.
So everyone you were talking to where they were like, hey, Karen, this is da-da-da-da, and they seem very professional. They're doing some terrible things to everybody. Yeah. So
they came to my gym. I had like 4 or 5 TV stations come down to my gym in the 1990s, and that was one of them.
And what did you choose Good Morning America, or did they choose you?
I sent press releases out to all of the stations, and they called me and came down. And a lot of kids signed up after seeing the segments on TV.
Nice.
We had
Karen, in your gymnastics, of course, repertoire. Have you coached anyone super famous?
I've coached college gymnasts that gymnasts know. But they're not super famous.
No Simone Biles or like
Karen, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Karen, this is crazy. You say, oh, I don't watch movies. Why would I do that? Take a date out to the movie. Dude, you were in Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Run All Night. What? You're already in these things.
Yeah.
Is it? Did they like look around for people that weren't already watching a movie? And they said, hey, you want to be in the background of this?
No, I did those when I first started in the film industry. I did actually more TV work than film work. So I was on Billions for 3 seasons.
You were what?
On Billions for 3 seasons.
Billions?
And
oh, wow.
Following for 2 seasons, and Good Wife. I was on that one a lot.
See, I think the Good Wife had some very good episodes. But the title of the show is terrible. Like they ran out of, they're like, what do we call this good show about a wife? They're like, I don't know, man. We got 5 minutes until lunch, though. Cool. The Good Wife. We'll fucking write that down. And we're, done. It felt like an early punch clock situation. So 3 seasons of.
I once played a wife who hired someone to kill my husband. That was a cool role.
Is that what happened to your husband? Who's that?
No, but there were days back then that I wish.
People in Pennsylvania, there was 4 people in a row these last 4 weeks have been caught by state police in a sting operation to try to, and mainly these sting operations are kind of to solicit a crime.
Okay.
These state policemen are kind of like putting themselves out there as hitmen, and they're they're finding one spouse at a time. 2 men and 2 women. 2 men were trying to kill their wives, and 2 women were trying to kill their husbands. Obviously, all separate cases, but that's a real thing. People are trying to kill their spouses off. And whatever happened to voodoo? Can't you just cast an evil spell on somebody that you really hate, or get like one of those little stocking things?
Awesome.
Or just pretend like they're dead to you, and you just move on with the situation. Yeah. Sparky's got something on the big board right there for our viewing audience, for our non-viewing audience, and if you're handicapped in such a way that you can't see too much, I'll explain the picture. Tony can explain the picture. Sparky, flip that beautiful big board around.
We're going to give a backstory first, though, Kevin.
Oh, great. Good.
We're ready.
We're actually going to make Missy's voice into a more mature movie.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Uh-oh is right.
The feature film, you will see her grow up.
Now, let me just say that this is a reimagining.
Missy's voice, the horror movie. And do not use your voice, Missy. I guess Missy's voice is now a readaptation of,
Scream.
Yeah. Well, Scream 3. Scream Loud. Yeah. Who was that horror movie?
Black Bolt.
Go
Black
again.
Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, the Marvel character, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's kind of what I feel like is going to happen in Iran right now after they blew up all the nuclear crap at the mountain. I feel like a mountain Godzilla thing's going to come out and be like, like, oh shit, never mind. Fuck. There was some kind of, DNA entity pool thing going on. Now the mountain's alive. Fuck. And Iran's like, this is why we told you we can't let you in here.
What would an Iranian lizard look like?
I don't know.
Marky, that is a picture for you to draw.
Oh god, Iranian Godzilla. It just. Oh god,
that is the picture. More recently, Karen, of course, you've written two film scripts, one comedy short, and one feature-length drama. The comedy Escape Artist has been in several film festivals. Why don't you talk about that?
Oh, that was a fun one. That's kind of funny because the two main characters, I actually had a dream about those two characters. Then I woke up and I typed up that script. And It was two artists who were using graffiti to attract a police officer to his birthday party. So originally I had the artists doing graffiti throughout the neighborhood. And basically the police officer was going from one location to the other, and the last location would be where his birthday party was. But then we only really had one location when we shot it. We did it in Queens, and they kept drawing him back to the same location, and then they had, the little birthday celebration. But it came out nice. I did it in black and white, and it was mostly
a little bit of a noir setting, right?
A what setting?
A noir setting.
I guess. Not sure.
Black and white featurette. Oh, okay. Not a lot of more. Yeah. Not a lot of dialogue, but more featurette.
Actually, it was supposed to be completely silent, but for some reason, the director allowed one scream in there. He allowed the police officer to yell out, "Hey," when he was, running to catch the two graffiti artists again. But it came out really nice. It was in the Garden State Film Festival, and I love that film festival. And it was I did a whole year tour just for that one little short film. That little 5.5-minute short film, I believe, got some of the actors that were in it some more work as a result.
Now they have shorter films. Now, Karen, they have shorter films out there. They're TikTok shorts. Before TikTok, they were what were those? Vines, right, Tony? They were Vines before it was TikTok, and before Vines were the short film festivals. A police officer is feeling depressed on his birthday until a few neighborhood artists trick him into attending his birthday celebration. This is the funniest part of the page, though, okay? And I have to tell you, and it says the Facebook page was hacked. We are working to restore it. Yeah. Please try again in a few weeks. That's comical in itself right there. But you are all over this thing. Diane Hannon's the associate producer. Lindsay Farley is the cinematographer, which is cinematographer to a degree, is photographer with video intentions as well, correct or no? Yeah. Red Dragon Creative Awards Best Debut Director, September 2022. Yeah, sometimes it's these short films where you don't need everybody's hour or 45 minutes to tell a really funny, to the point kind of story. And if you wanted to compress old TV shows of the Twilight Zone, that's what it has, like a little bit of a feel of, with that black and white kind of zone, kind of artsy. Yeah. But if you compress it down to like a how long was it? 5 minutes and 45 seconds?
Yeah, 5.5 minutes.
5.5 minutes. Yeah,
5:36.
That still takes a lot of talent to do that, because you tell a story in 5.5 minutes, and it's real tricky too, because in people's heads there's very few closure points after an hour. They leave it open. There's sequels to movies that can't get to the point. You got to your point in this movie so quickly that they were like, it's astonishing sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong. There are just the opposite versions of short stories or short movies where they want to have that sequel. And in my opinion, that's a cheat code where, you're not really doing what you're meant to do. You're doing the opposite of what you were meant to do, and you're using it as a marketing gimmick from that point. But this has no sequel, correct?
Right. I have written other short scripts, but I'm so focused on Missy's voice right now that those scripts are just sitting in my laptop.
Creepers. I mean, so 5 years in the making, Missy's voice has been. I think Sparky's got something on the big board, but the anticipation for so we got Missy's voice there in the comments. I'm gonna put this also Escape Artist short film. I'm putting this one in the comments too, just because some of our audience, they do really. We had Drew around here before. He was a nice guy. They do really enjoy short films, and it's something everybody should really check out, because that's one thing you can binge on. You can watch 10 movies in an hour, and half of them be good, half of them be bad, but at least you didn't waste an hour on one thing that might be bad, sort of thing. So it's for this new generation, these kids aren't really familiar with the format too much. They think that's long movie. They think it's Disney. They think Disney Plus or whatever, streaming. They're born into a whole new world full of either 30-second TikTok clip or an hour and a half, and then a sequel from that old Marvel movie. There is no in between for them to actually go through. But that's in the comments right there. Sparky on the big board now. Flip it around. We got run. It is Alazilia, because we can't say God. And that is, by the way, that is not depicting you know who. It is not at all. And as you can see, the four little guys running away from him after the U.S. bombing in Iran. Now, no people were hurt in Iran. Just the mountains. The mountains are turning green. The
mountains' feelings were extremely hurt.
The clouds are green over Iran. Because of the nuclear facilities kind of blown up. Now, what it really did do over there is create only two countries to supply electricity, France and Saudi Arabia, to a majority of the Middle East and parts of Eastern Europe. Okay.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
Russia used to be in there. Qatar actually does do it, but on a smaller scale. They do the overfill sort of thing. So when Saudi Arabia feels like they need to outsource what they're already outsourcing anyways, they go through Qatar. And it's kind of, I think it was kind of strategic when it comes down to it. I don't want to get too much into politics, but when you think about coincidences, Donald Trump was hanging out with Macron from France. He went to Saudi Arabia several times, Israel, and that trip to Qatar with a $400 million plane gifted to him. It's just appraised. No, that plane could be worth fucking $2 million for all I know. I don't know. I don't appraise planes. But it feels a little suspicious that the same countries that are to benefit from Iran not being a part of their own economic to prosper through their electricity sale. Those guys were also visited within the same year, immediately too. Now, if the old saying is that if you come to the White House, you're going to get yelled at, but if the White House comes to you, we're going to bomb who you don't like. So we'll take notes real quick. South Africa came to the White House, got yelled at. Canada came to the White House. We're going to buy Canada. Like, what do you, what the fuck are you guys, what are you doing? And of course, Ukraine came to the White House, where J.D. Vance said the worst part of the Ukrainian war is you didn't say thank you. And yeah, that's probably a bad thing to not constantly be thanking for billions and billions of promissory dollars, and to constantly wear the same black shirt. Come on, wear a stick-on tie, like a clip-on tie or something like that. Don't be a jerk.
Clip-on.
Don't wear a bow tie or something weird. Wear a hat. Wear a fedora. You're walking around there like a Simpsons cartoon character, wearing the same damn things over and over and over again.
He's an actor, goddammit. He should have multiple hats.
Yeah, don't wear a gun. Wear a gun around. If you're really in the dust of it, be like, oh, I just got done with war, guys. We're gonna need some more money. I'll be like, I'm here. I look like I'm a hologram guy. Just back in the same kind of crap scenario. So if you're invited to the White House, be prepared to get yelled at. And if the White House is coming to you, whoever you want them to bomb, they will. So that's I guess there's a ceasefire going on right now, which is probably the only
not quite confirmed yet, but
not quite confirmed. Yeah.
Supposedly.
I feel like it's one of those ceasefires where they bring out a gun and they say, who in this room doesn't want a ceasefire? And they're like, me. Bang. All right. Anybody else? Like they just go one after the other, Tony. It's just it's on that cartoonish level.
It's just John Cena going like this all the time.
Yeah, he actually did have the Phantom Punch that's gone viral right now. A bunch of kids actually were enticing him, Karen. John Cena, very famous WWE wrestler. Karen, I know, she's probably already on the WWF or something, or WWE. He's like, he was an okay guy. But the Phantom Punch, he didn't hit the thing several times and then turned to the crowd and said, I haven't hit something real in 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the kayfabe of wrestling right now, which is now, wrestlers used to take themselves so seriously. And there's something about that aspect where everybody knows the fight is predetermined, but they're taking their character role so dead on serious. So much to the point where they're willing to destroy their body physically, brains mentally, to keep in that character for so many years. That's a lot of dedication there. But and then to just bulldoze over that idea the way that some of these guys are doing, and by saying like, oh yeah, we know it's not real, and we know it's this, and they're using back locker room terminology that the fans aren't supposed to know about. It's a discredit, in my opinion, to the guys who used literal blood, sweat, and tears to propel it to be $1 billion sports enterprise. I don't know how passionate you get about
Kevin. Do you know who's ran themselves into an enterprise?
Is this a porn joke, Tony?
No, it's Karen. Karen has rolled herself into an enterprise.
She is her own enterprise right now. Like her
now,
biography
did you know,
is
Kevin,
outstanding.
Did you know?
Did I know?
That she is multi-tiered, multifaceted, by the way.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of things under her belt. So not only does she have a bachelor's in business, right?
No, not in business. It's actually in history.
Oh, in history. Okay. So a bachelor's in history.
Tony, did you know that Karen has a bachelor's in history?
I did not know.
Oh, you do. Look at that.
But she is a ballroom dancer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ballroom dancer. Did you know that she is also a songwriter?
I love that about you, Karen. Now, but let's get to the annoying question first. How many people have asked you if you want to be on Dancing with the Stars, or had to have when you bring up ballroom dancing?
Nobody.
Let's keep it that way. Amazing. So, how many songs have you written?
I only wrote one, and it was during COVID, actually. I was in love at the time. I thought I was actually going to grow old with this guy, but obviously that didn't happen.
Did he have a beard? Did he have a beard?
Karen, are you single and ready to mingle?
I am single. So
not ready to mingle.
What?
Not ready to mingle?
It depends on who with.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I got up in the middle of the night, and when I was going back after using the bathroom, I had like a song line pop into my head, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I just kept thinking of other lines, and I was like, I better write this down. And then in the morning I showed him, and he was a musician. And I said, is this like a song? Should I do something with this? And he thought it was pretty cool, but he didn't like rush to try to produce it or anything, or sing it or anything. So I did actually copyright it back then. And then I forgot all about it. I emailed it to myself. I copyrighted it. I saved it on my laptop. And then I came across it like a month ago and I said, I should do something with this. So I did. So,
is that able to be found on Spotify, or did you just
it's all
get out
over
of here? Nice.
It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes. There's another one that does music, that distributes music. But yeah, it's all over the place. And I typed in the lyrics, and I put in the lyrics in a music making app. So I didn't write the actual music, I wrote the lyrics. But I created that using an app, and then I had it distributed.
That's outstanding. Your career has been so very long, and the biggest thing that you're looking forward to right now is turning one of many books into a family-friendly movie that and this is just for anyone out there watching, and or
Hallmark, by the way. Hallmark.
No, nothing's perfect. Everything's too good for Hallmark. It is. It's just no, Hallmark's gonna take because Karen's reminds me of a person that has a lot of grit to her writing, a lot of realism to the idea. And Hallmark takes anything like that and shits all over the idea and says, maybe, dude, the most homeless person in a Hallmark movie looks like he's got all of his teeth in just like a slight 5 o'clock shadow. It just...
That's funny.
And there's too many good-looking people in that movie. You need too many
good-looking people in Hallmark.
I always tell my wife, she's like, how do you know what a good movie is? And I came up with a formula. The more ugly people you see in a movie, if they pass the line of 6.5 out of 10 sort of thing,
the better the writing.
The better the writing, the better the casting. You need some people that are not good looking. The problem is, there are so many actors out there that got into acting because they were so good looking. They were told, you should be an actor by everyone that is used to seeing these mainstream Lifetime
former models.
Oh my God. Yeah. I thought there was more to come with that.
No.
Former models and
like,
there we are.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Like, the better the eye candy, not necessarily the better the movie, but people
pageant
can't
winners
see past a physical expectation.
Well, the idea was always, we'll go for looks first, and then we'll train them how to act. Instead of, we'll see if somebody knows how to act first, and then it doesn't matter what they should look like in the movie because we're going to cast them on features of what the characters should look like anyway. So we want to make sure that they can act first, and then if the face isn't there, whatever, it's not a big deal. Maybe it's an ugly town, maybe it's a gritty town. If you've been to some small cities like Karen, where are you living at currently right now?
I'm in New Jersey, in Ocean County.
Perfect example. You got some small town, you got some knick-knack towns in Jersey right there where you got some lost and forgotten soul faces roaming around, and with populations of like 123 in these weird little knick-knack towns. We have them here in Pennsylvania as well. But those kind of people watching the movies, they know that they can't relate to these kind of characters because they are in such disbelief that these characters are even real that it's almost deemed unwatchable for them. And it takes a part of their reality and kind of just shoves it to the side and ignores a whole particular part of the audience. Meanwhile, if there are so many good-looking people watching a movie that has people in there that, whatever, nothing much is going on there, they're still going to watch it because the acting ability and the portrayal of the story and the storyline seamlessly coming through. And I'm not talking where you have to, dumb it up for the audience, where you say, like, as you know, I was once an author of love, where the characters are literally talking about their own bio, because nobody talks like that. But we've been conditioned through years of entertainment and watching TV shows. The laugh track is a perfect example, teaching people when they should laugh, even if it's not a funny scenario. Hell, Home Improvement wouldn't have been a show, and I'll even throw Seinfeld in there. Seinfeld didn't need a laugh track. but they knew that their audiences weren't going to laugh at the scenarios that George, Elaine, Jerry, and Craig. Yeah, you pop into a room. Imagine Seinfeld without the laugh track, and that is actually what Curb Your Enthusiasm turned into. And that ran twice as long as Seinfeld did, and people wanted more to one degree or another. We got to watch Larry David going from how is he even married at that age to ending Larry David where he's like, how does he even think he's trying to date at that age? And dating at a certain age has been Sex and the City kind of didn't take enough from that. Yeah, well, I would say they didn't take enough of a spoonful from that area as the ladies started aging. You just started hating Sarah Jessica Parker's character, where you're like, why don't
the older character who was always dating the younger guys always played the cougar character.
They kind of that HBO. So the writing was very good for the first 2 seasons, and then it slowly started turning into a Hallmark movie where they eventually said the word "fuck" once in a while. I'll give you an example, because the scenarios that Carrie got into, Sarah Jessica Parker's character, where she's now with some Russian millionaire because she has a magazine article, and magazines at that time were a fucking dying breed. You can't give me a better Hallmark script.
I can give you a better Hallmark script.
Sparky can give us a better picture of what we're all talking about, right, Sparky?
A Jewish man falls in love with an Iranian woman. Love explodes over the desert.
Love in the desert. Love in the desert.
Of course, there's a picture of a man and a woman. She looks like a ninja. And there is a large dinosaur behind her.
Do you think
Alazilla?
Do you think Netanyahu told Donald Trump, where Donald Trump's like, why don't you guys just stop fighting? And Netanyahu's like, there's gold in those hills. I'm sorry.
We need to wrap up the show.
Netanyahu just sounds like a more evil version of Bernie Sanders. He just
True.
Sound like that. Wrap it up, Tony.
Well, Bernie Sanders was actually doing an interview. He was at a rally or something.
Yeah.
And while when the United States attacked Iran, he came out and he was like, "Oh my God, is this true? He didn't have the authority of the Congress in order to do any attacks." And everyone was like, "Okay."
No. These are bombs meant for billionaires and millionaires. These aren't regular bombs. Like, dude, your boy Obama dropped 15,182 bombs. Okay,
yeah.
Unauthorized by Congress.
Yeah.
Actually, current Congress didn't authorize it. Past Congress did. You see, you can do stuff in the past. Give presidents certain amount of powers under the Patriot Act. That, by the way, when it was up for review, no one had a spine to repeal and say no to. In fact, you yourself, Bernie Sanders, said yes to the Patriot Act again. So don't give me your bullshit where they don't have any authority to do so. Because you had the authority to vote no, you cowered down, and it was 100 to zip on the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
That
when Bernie Sanders was also pocketing $100 million for his campaign.
I mean, no. Well, it was for his campaign. It wasn't for him.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He was pocketing $100 million for his campaign.
That wasn't my money. That was their money.
That was for my presidency run.
These scumbags and hypocrites, and it's terrible. I'll go on for another half an hour, and we don't have that much time
for another show.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Karen. If people were going to ask you to get in touch with you, how would they do it?
They can go to KarenGoeller.com, KarenGoeller.com, or they can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and my email is Karen@KarenGoeller.com.
Karen, you are one of the most findable people on the internet. There are hundreds and hundreds of articles written about you. Reviews on your books are all positive. I haven't found one negative yet. And I've Googled, somebody please talk shit on Karen Goeller, and it's not there. Google said, sorry, we can't find it.
Impossible.
That's good.
Yeah. That's true.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
It's as elusive as Alazilla.
Alazilla!
Alazilla!
Akapakoxilla! Oh, God.
Well, guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. Of course, another interview and another week. We'll have some great interviews coming up in the next few weeks. Big shout out to Karen Goeller. Thank you very much for being on our show as well.
Thanks so much for having me.
Sparky, if you were looking for us, where would you find us?
You can find us on every single major streaming platform, including YouTube, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, Castbox, Pocket Cast, GeoReo, iHeartRadio, Facebook
Anywhere
Live.
you stream.
You can also find our merchandise, including a nice little shirt like this one.
Oh, my God. Look at that shirt.
Ooh,
At
look
our
at that
Facebook,
shirt. That's a
at our
pretty shirt.
Facebook homepage.
That's true. Guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. Check us out every Monday night, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso.
Lace Parquet.
Okay.
The Lace Parquet. Guys, thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Catch you soon. Bye.
Thank you.